Hello, my name is Teresa, and I'm going to be presenting today on the Johnson & Johnson family of companies. This is an analysis of a global corporation as part of a capstone class at Alverno College. I chose to do my presentation on Johnson & Johnson for a couple of reasons. One is that I've been in the healthcare field now for over 18 years, and Johnson & Johnson is truly dedicated to human health and well-being. Another reason that I chose to research Johnson & Johnson is because I am a current consumer of their products. I was familiar with their products, and I've enjoyed using their products and wanted to find out more about where they came from in the history of their company. My presentation objectives for the presentation today is to really highlight the key data from my research paper. I'm going to do a history of the company overview, as well as an overview of the company's current state. And then I'm going to review with you some of the personal revelations that I found while doing my research. I will review the proud history that they have, as well as a unique characteristic they have in their leadership structure. I'm going to review with you the brands that Johnson & Johnson offers, and then I'll talk about how they give back and how they show their social responsibility. Johnson & Johnson was founded as a family business by three brothers, Robert Wood Johnson, James Wood Johnson, and Edward Mead Johnson, in New Brunswick, New Jersey, back in 1886. The first products were produced in 1886, and the company was incorporated in 1887. The immediate success in their medical products allowed the company to grow rapidly. They led pioneering efforts in the invention and mass production of products for human health and well-being for the last 130 years. During the 19th century, healthcare was not always immediately accessible, and very little attention was paid to the proper treatment of wounds and injuries. In 1887, Johnson & Johnson was the first company to mass produce sterile surgical dressings and sterile sutures, which helped save countless patients from fatal infections. In 1888, they created the first commercial first aid kits to help treat injured railroad workers who needed medical help before they could reach a doctor. Soon after, Johnson & Johnson created additional first aid kits for use in homes, schools, offices, factories, and farms. In 1894, Johnson & Johnson was determined to make childbirth safer for mothers and babies, as most births were home births. The kits were packed with antiseptic soap, sterile medical supplies, and other products to help make doctors make childbirth easier and safer. In 1896, the mass production of both sanitary napkins, and in 1898, the first mass-produced affordable dental floss, both were through Johnson & Johnson. In 1920, Earl Dixon, an employee of Johnson & Johnson, invented the Band-Aid brand adhesive bandages. These were the first commercial dressings that consumers could apply themselves. Johnson & Johnson began making and selling them in 1921, and they grew to become one of their best-known products. In 1942, duct tape was originally invented by Johnson & Johnson during World War II to help keep the moisture out of military's ammunition cases. In 1954, baby shampoo with no more tears entered the market as the first mild and soap-free shampoo designed to be gentle enough to not irritate babies' eyes. In 1967, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, Inc., a family company of Johnson & Johnson, launched Hadol in the U.S. Hadol was the first antipsychotic therapy that enabled patients to be treated at home. In 1969, Ethicon Inc., another part of the Johnson & Johnson family of companies, debuted propofol suture, which was the first synthetic sterile suture. In 1987, Johnson & Johnson was the first company to mass market disposable contacts that could be worn for up to 1 week through their product AccuView. In 1998, they debuted Dermabond topical skin adhesive, the world's first product to close skin without sutures or staples. As recently as 2015, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, under the Johnson & Johnson family, was able to get FDA approval for a brand new cancer-fighting immunotherapy drug. This drug is for patients with multiple myeloma who have relapsed after receiving other treatment. In 2017, they unveiled their renovated New Brunswick Museum, Our Story, along with the virtual museum, to share these groundbreaking moments with the public. Johnson & Johnson's current state shows you that the world headquarters are still located in New Brunswick, New Jersey, in the USA. This is the same city and state that the Johnson & Johnson brothers originally founded this company. There are more than 265 operating companies now, located in 60 different countries. There are approximately 126,500 employees. Johnson & Johnson's primary focus is products related to human health and well-being. So the company is organized into 3 different segments: consumer, pharmaceutical, and medical devices. The consumer segment includes a range of products in the baby care, oral care, skin care, wound care, and women's health markets. It also includes over-the-counter pharmaceutical items. All of these products are marketed to the public and sold throughout the world. The pharmaceutical segment is focused on 5 therapeutic areas, including immunology, infectious diseases, neuroscience, oncology, and cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. The medical devices segment includes a broad range of products used in the orthopedic, surgery, cardiovascular, diabetes care, and vision care fields. The current financial status of Johnson & Johnson show that their worldwide sales in 2016 were at $71.9 billion. Their gross profit was $50 billion, and the gross profit margin then was 69.8%. Their net earnings for the year was at $16.5 billion, making their net profit margin 23%. Their current ratio is 2.47 to 1. Their new products within the last 5 years accounted for approximately 22% of their total sales, and they spent over $9 billion worldwide on research and development activities. They currently have research facilities in 14 different countries, including the United States. The map shows the geographic sales distribution that is slightly outdated because in 2016, only 47% of the company's sales occurred outside of the U.S. But it does give you a brief overview of the areas around the world that they currently sell their products in. Johnson & Johnson has a very proud history. The 3 brothers that I mentioned earlier originally began this family because they realized that the physicians needed to improve ways to simplify hygiene in their practices. Robert Wood Johnson crafted our credo in 1943, before Johnson & Johnson even became a publicly traded company. The values they use to guide their decision-making are spelled out in our credo. Put simply by them, our credo challenges us to put the needs and well-being of the people we serve first. This credo was created long before corporate responsibility was an issue, but it continues to guide Johnson & Johnson in their decisions to this day. The leadership structure is unique with Johnson & Johnson because the corporate board of directors consists of all independent directors except for Alex Gorsky, who is also the chief executive officer of Johnson & Johnson. The board had decided that having the CEO serve as the chairman creates a clear and unambiguous authority within their company. They also believe that the direct experience that Alex Gorsky has puts him in a unique position to provide effective leadership. The brands that are offered through Johnson & Johnson, many of them are familiar to us, but many may surprise you. If you notice on the consumer market side, Aveeno, Clean & Clear, Neutrogena, Tylenol, Sudafed, Benadryl, Motrin, Pepcid, Stay Free, OB tampons, Band-Aids, and Neosporin are all part of their consumer products. I knew many of them were under the Johnson & Johnson logo, but I was surprised to see that Benadryl, Aveeno, and Sudafed were all under that as well. On the right-hand side, it shows the pharmaceutical segments, which are many different brands of pharmaceutical products that Johnson & Johnson currently offer on the market. Johnson & Johnson really surprised me with the way that they give back to the community. They sponsor a program called Donate a Photo, and it's a free app that lets consumers choose a cause that they want a donation to be sent to. They make it very simple for consumers to be able to give back or be a part of how they give back. Anyone's able to upload a photo to the app. It'll post a shout out to the cause of their choosing, and then it posts the picture. For each photo that gets posted, Johnson & Johnson will donate $1 to the cause that was chosen by the consumer. People can post up to one picture per day. I thought this was an amazing example of how Johnson & Johnson is willing to give back. I was also very impressed with how social responsibility showed in Johnson & Johnson before it was a law, before it was required of companies to show that they're responsible for the social well-being of the world that we live in. But back in 1982, Johnson & Johnson voluntarily recalled 30 million Tylenol products, even though it cost the company over $100 million. They did this after 7 people in the Chicago area died after taking extra-strength Tylenol capsules. Johnson & Johnson was not deemed responsible for the product contamination, but the company was still quick to act and remedy the situation. Following the incident, they became the first manufacturer to begin using tamper-proof packaging. The quick, honest, and responsible actions they took allowed the company to quickly recover their financial losses and regain the trust of their customers. This incident really shows how Johnson & Johnson has a history of creating innovative products and initiatives to deal with concerns that society faces. I really enjoyed doing this research paper and presentation because I was able to get a really good look into Johnson & Johnson and how they work as a company. As I stated in the beginning, I was a consumer, a customer, someone who believed in Johnson & Johnson before I did this paper. But now I truly feel that I can also be a champion for their cause as well. They want a healthier world for us all to live in, and that's something that I believe in as well. So I want to thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope that you will spread the good word of what Johnson & Johnson is doing for people all over the world. Thank you.